This unsettling footage was posted to Reddit by user Driselection421. During a stay at an isolated woodland cabin deep in the forest, a man spots something odd near a tarp-covered structure on the property. He pulls out his camera and starts filming the distant tree line from the cabin's back railing. Nothing seems out of the ordinary at first, but the moment he zooms in, it becomes clear he may not be out there alone. See what his camera picked up.
Me right now. Okay, go Are you joking right now?
Partially concealed by the foliage, a dark, broad-shouldered shape appears to be keeping a close eye on the cabin. The strange figure slowly rises up above the brush, sways from one side to the other, then sinks back down, never fully emerging into the open. Just a short time later, it reappears in that same spot.
Kidding me right now? Okay, go Are you joking right now?
The shape in the distance could potentially be a person dressed in dark clothes, or maybe an animal made unrecognizable by the shaky zoom and low video quality. But if it was just some ordinary individual, what were they doing crouched in the undergrowth, silently observing the cabin? Was this nothing more than a mysterious trespasser? Or had the man just caught something on film that resembles the legendary Bigfoot? It was already well past dinner time, and a couple had just wrapped up their evening meal. The footage shows the two of them chatting casually for a few more minutes before starting to clean up, while a friend filmed the whole thing just to mess around. Nothing about the scene seemed out of the ordinary, but unbeknownst to anyone in that room, the camera was picking up something that defied easy explanation. For just a brief window of time, a small figure is unmistakably visible moving through the background of the shot. What makes it so unsettling is how fast it appears and vanishes, because if this had actually been a child passing through, you'd expect to see them far more clearly on screen. The person behind the camera later stated that no children were present in the home that evening. Interestingly, the woman seems to pick up on something moving behind her and spins around almost immediately to check. Maybe there's a perfectly rational explanation waiting to be found, or maybe what that camera recorded was something that existed just beyond the threshold of what the people in that room could perceive. This unsettling clip documents a shocking turn of events when a YouTuber set out to perform a basic cleansing ceremony in a home with a reputation for paranormal activity. His goal seemed straightforward enough: clear out any negative energy and bring a sense of calm back to the space. But things spiraled in a much darker direction when something within the house appeared resistant to being driven out. As the ritual pressed on and the camera continued to capture everything, it grew painfully obvious that whatever was there was responding in ways far more frightening than anyone had prepared for. See for yourself what unfolded.
что началось, друзья. О, сука.
Throughout the footage, items within the room begin shifting in ways that defy explanation. Wooden chess pieces are flung violently in multiple directions, and the chessboard itself gets struck and launched directly into the camera, almost as though an invisible presence were lashing out in fury. Some viewers have suggested the clip might simply be playing in reverse, but there's one additional detail that makes the whole thing considerably harder to dismiss. Near the end of the recording, one of the remaining chess pieces appears suddenly perched on top of a tall cabinet, seemingly placed there with deliberate intent, as if something wanted its presence acknowledged. Even now, nobody can say with certainty what actually resides in that house, whether it's a mischievous spirit, a poltergeist, or something far more sinister lurking beneath the quiet. Olivia is a young woman sharing an apartment with her boyfriend, and she says the place has turned into a magnet for deeply unsettling events. Doors fly open and crash shut on their own, as though something invisible is forcing them. Then one night, the couple returns home to find something absolutely chilling peering out at them through their own window. But it doesn't stop there. The strange occurrences keep intensifying with each passing day, until one night, while both of them are inside the apartment, something happens that shakes them to their core.
Wait! There's legit no one in here, dude. No one is in here. No.
Is there a dark and malevolent force hiding somewhere in that apartment, lurking in the shadows and making their lives a nightmare? That's entirely up to you to decide. A cemetery worker claimed he had experienced a number of bizarre incidents throughout his time on the job.
I just stopped here in the office to check the board for things that I gotta do, and heard either knocking on this door. This is the bathroom, so it's not that. Look. See? This is locked.
On one particular occasion, he was alone in his office, going through a list of tasks he needed to complete, when suddenly he heard a series of loud, heavy knocks at the door.
See if it does it again.
Intrigued, he got up and pulled the door open, only to find absolutely no one standing there when he scanned the area.
God, that smell. That nasty, rotten smell was in here. I've never smelled it anywhere besides the garage. Oh, shit. I have never smelled it anywhere else. That is disgusting.
As he continued investigating, he was hit by an intense, foul odor that seemed to have no identifiable source. That mysterious stench only added to the already creepy atmosphere.
That is disgusting smell. Okay, we're out. What the fuck? Oh yeah, we're not doing that.
And just as he was still trying to wrap his head around everything, objects inside the garage started dropping to the floor out of nowhere. That was the point where genuine dread set in. In another incident, the same man was once again alone in his office when something unsettling began unfolding around him.
Oh, I tried catching it, guys. This door was just swinging back and forth. Open, closed, open, closed. I don't think I caught it.
With no apparent cause, the door began repeatedly swinging open and slamming shut on its own.
Go ahead and do it. Holy shit.
Determined to get to the bottom of it, he pushed the door all the way open and held it there. Then, within seconds, it slowly drifted shut by itself.
Appreciate it. Thanks for listening.
The truly chilling part? There wasn't a single soul in sight. He checked the entire hallway, and it was completely deserted. So what do you think was actually behind that door? Linda was fast asleep beside her husband when a jarring noise jolted her awake. After investigating, she discovered the curtains had been thrown into a strange, displaced position. She was certain the house had been locked up tight, making it nearly impossible for anyone to have gotten in. Even so, what she found on her doorbell camera left her terrified enough to dial 911 on the spot.
For a bit. Yeah, dude. Something's in her fucking window right there,
Baby,
bro.
stop being hyper, please. It's scaring me.
Ready?
Yeah.
Something's in her fucking window.
Yeah. Hold on. You're gonna hear 3 knocks. The first one is with whoever is holding our curtain where you can see into our house. We're both still in the bed at this point. This is gonna be the first knock. So whoever is inside our house right now, and they've got the curtain pulled up to beat on the door. You're gonna hear the first one, you're gonna hear the second one, and the third one. Play it. second, third.
The sound had been abrupt and unsettling, and the footage unmistakably showed the curtains being violently wrenched shut at a startling speed, yet not a single person was visible, and there was no way wind could have been responsible. The following clip shows Linda walking police through the scene at her house.
Watch the glass, the reflection on the glass. And look, this is you looking up. We didn't move. Okay. We didn't move off the bed to the scene on you. I watched every one of those videos. There are no other movies I've seen. I watched every one of those videos. There was nothing outside movie.
The responding officer concluded there was no sign of outside interference and suggested whatever happened had come from within the home itself. Linda was adamant that nobody else had been inside, yet the sheer force and volume of that curtain slam made the whole thing feel impossible to explain away. Looking more carefully at the footage, I noticed a shadowy figure lurking in the corner just behind the curtain a split second before it flew shut. Linda never brought this up herself, but plenty of viewers took it seriously and urged her to do a thorough sweep of every room. While many pointed to that figure as the culprit, others were convinced something paranormal was at work. To this day, Linda still has no explanation for what shut those curtains. What's your take? Drop your thoughts down in the comments. A woman named Natalie recorded some deeply unsettling CCTV footage from her child's bedroom late one night. The father was hanging out in the room with his kid, watching TV and scrolling through his phone, when something alarming unfolded.
Can I go see what is that? And then we'll come back and sleep. Hey, this says my name.
What?
This says my name.
Seriously?
First, an object suddenly drops from the TV stand. A Ziploc bag slides off completely on its own, immediately grabbing the attention of both father and child. Then, as the child walks over to retrieve the bag, an eerie voice can be heard. What sounds like breathing, followed by something resembling the word hi, or possibly mine. What makes this even more disturbing, and the actual reason the family posted the footage in the first place, is what was found inside that bag when it was picked up. A post-it note with the child's name written on it. Nobody in the family had written it, and none of them had any idea it was even in there. This led them to suspect the voice captured in the footage might belong to a witch, and that whatever they're dealing with could be behind the whole incident. A number of viewers have also pointed out that the black TV screen was essentially functioning as a mirror, positioned directly across from another mirror in the room. On top of that, the family had already documented another strange event before all of this, though they're not entirely certain whether it's connected. Their outdoor security camera picked something up late one night, and here's what it recorded. Two unusual balls of light appear in the sky. One stays completely motionless while the other shifts position. Then, on a separate night, the camera triggered an alert detecting movement inside the child's room, despite no one being in there. A single glowing orb can be seen slowly rising near the bed, growing in size, then repeating the same drifting motion around the bed again and again. The family are convinced all of these events are linked, and that something dark is at work. But until further updates come through, this one remains open. A TikTok creator known as The Black Orchard Films is a real estate agent who has previously recorded some remarkably persuasive poltergeist encounters inside properties he was showing to potential buyers. Now, however, he's convinced that something dark may have actually trailed him home from one of those locations, and is making itself known right within the walls of his own residence.
Am I tripping or something? Someone's sitting on my couch, but like, look, there's no one there. What? But like, there's no one there.
As he aims his camera toward the blank TV screen, you can plainly make out the reflection of a shadowy figure seated motionless on his couch. Yet the moment he whips around to look directly at the couch, there is not a single soul to be found. He continues shifting the camera back and forth between the television and the empty cushions, but he just can't seem to catch the figure appearing in the actual room. It only shows up in that unsettling reflection, but we are at the footage back, she spotted what appeared to be a ghostly figure drifting through the garage. When she went back through earlier recordings footage captured while she and her daughter were still in there tidying up, she discovered the same presence seemed to have been with them the whole time. Her belief is that it was her sister, who had passed away some years before. She mentioned she'd had her sister on her mind heavily that day, and felt that maybe she had come by to check in. Hoping to shed some light on the situation, she posted a follow-up video addressing everything. And here's what she had to say.
So excited, we have so much to talk about. This is about my last video that went viral, so if you haven't seen that, go look at it and then come back to this one. Okay, so here I am in the said garage. Here's the pole. There's the Ring camera right there. And as you can see, I just want to show everybody. There's no spider webs. No spider webs. So I'm gonna just do a pan. Wow, look. Don't see anything over here or over there. Nothing there. Coast is clear. All right. So that there's no spider webs, guys. That's not what it is. I don't know what that thing was that was hanging like right there. I have no idea, but that's not what the video was about. The video was about the spirit that was walking around over here the whole time. So that's what we're gonna cover. So don't worry. I got you guys. Okay, so I'm gonna be showing you this from the actual Ring app on my iPad so that we can all walk through this together. I am not tech savvy. I don't know how to edit anything, so this is how I'm doing it. So let's get started. Okay, so this is on my iPad right now. I'm about to play it for you guys so you can actually see what's going on. And I'm gonna point it out to you guys, so don't worry. So here we go. I'm gonna hit play. She's saying, helmet, come out, wherever you are. So you see this thing up here, flies up here, comes back down. She grabs her helmet. She walks over here. Look, watch what happens. She's like, it's right there. It's like going up the pole. This part where I walk out and then it just goes over here. It's right there. You can literally see it. You can do it when you get back. I think it's just chilling over here the whole time. Yeah, dude. Watch. And then I go over here. She goes inside. I go back out here. Oh, by the way, this is not what I'm talking about, guys. I don't know what that is though. It looks like something like a spider web or something. But if you go back over here, you can see it right there. And then I leave. It's right there. I have my finger on it. It's white. Watch it move. And then it goes to the next record. Look at that. Watch what it does. And then it literally walks out of the garage and doesn't come back. Look. Look. Just goes into the garage. And then it's gone. I don't know what this is. I don't know what that is. But if you look right now, there's nothing there. There's that, and there's that. But other than that, there's some cords and stuff. But again, there's my Ring camera, and there was no spider webs. So I don't know what that is. That looks like a spider web to me. Anyways, this is the next point of the video. So I'm wondering if it's over here. Yeah, I don't think I see anything. Do you guys see anything? I don't see anything. Yep,
In that second video, she walked viewers through a complete tour of the garage. She examined the camera carefully, looking for spider webs, floating dust threads, or anything else that might have set off the motion sensor, which, as it turns out, is a surprisingly frequent culprit with home security cameras. But in this particular case, there was nothing. No webs, no debris near the lens, no obvious cause for the shape that drifted across the screen. A lot of viewers have come to the conclusion that it was a benevolent spirit, someone keeping a protective eye on her, and she herself remains firmly convinced it was her sister paying a visit. She's also noted that nothing unusual has happened since. So, where do you stand on this one? Was that genuinely a spirit captured on film, or is there a rational explanation hiding somewhere? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Our next story comes from the Sherborne Sutherland Videos channel. Following a series of unsettling experiences that one woman's sister simply cannot make sense of. While she was at home keeping their grandfather company, she started picking up on what seemed to be the sound of footsteps coming from the floor above. The trouble was, nobody else should have been up there. Shaken by what she was hearing, she pulled up the Ring camera footage, which had recorded the whole thing. She jolts upright the moment strange sounds reach her from upstairs. Leaning in and listening carefully in the quiet of the room, there's no mistaking it, those are footsteps. Naturally, she goes up to check it out, combing through every inch of the floor above, but finds absolutely nothing. Then, just a month down the line, that same camera caught yet another deeply unsettling moment while she was alone in the house. She's standing in the kitchen when a loud bang erupts from somewhere overhead, stopping her dead in her tracks. She stands completely still, barely breathing, straining to hear whatever might have made that sound. To this day, no explanation has ever been found for either incident. What makes it all even more haunting is that the home once belonged to an elderly man who later passed away after an accident in Russia. Now the family can't help but wonder whether whatever they keep hearing might be the former resident finding his way back to the place he once called home. Moving into a new home is meant to feel like the beginning of something new, but for Kyle, that sense of optimism didn't stick around. He just closed on the property and decided to record a quick tour while the rooms were still bare. He was entirely by himself, filming the long hallway when things took a strange turn.
I was alone, and this happened. Good.
The lights began switching on and off one after another, cycling in a slow, purposeful rhythm that had nothing to do with faulty wiring. Down at the far end of the corridor, a door gradually swung shut on its own. Kyle approached and pressed against it, then stopped cold. There was resistance coming from the other side. something was pushing back. You can hear the bewilderment in his voice as he calls out to ask if someone's there. After a few agonizing seconds, the force simply vanishes and the room behind the door is completely vacant, but the strangeness is far from over. As Kyle ventures further into the house, another door begins shaking violently inside its frame.
What the F is going on? Things are going crazy now.
Then a sliding door starts moving on its own, opening and closing in that same unhurried, calculated way. As though guided by an invisible hand, the atmosphere grows thick and the quiet between each event becomes almost suffocating. By now, any trace of excitement in Kyle's voice has drained away entirely, swallowed up by dread. He understands this isn't some fluke, none of it is accidental. The house appears to be responding to his presence, reacting with every move he makes. Whatever has been living here didn't follow him in through the front door. It was waiting long before he arrived. And now that it knows it's been seen, it may fan. The night had been going smoothly dinner with friends in Perth, followed by a casual walk through the city. The kind of thing he had almost certainly done countless times before. Nothing about his stroll seemed out of place, and there was no reason to think it would mark the end of an otherwise unremarkable evening. Across town, however, a very different night was taking shape. Earlier that same afternoon, Alicia Kemp, a 25-year-old backpacker from England, had been out drinking with a group of friends. She had spent time teaching English in Vietnam before making her way to Australia, where she intended to keep traveling through Southeast Asia. Court proceedings revealed that the group moved through several venues before being turned away from another bar due to how intoxicated they were. For most people, that would have been the signal to call it a night. Instead, it set off a sequence of choices that investigators would later reconstruct moment by moment. At around 8:30 on the evening of May 31st, 2024, Kemp and a friend hired an electric scooter. Police stated that Kemp was at the controls while her companion rode behind her. The surveillance footage opens without any sense of urgency. People stroll along Murray Street, wrapping up their evenings, heading home after meals, or catching up with friends. Everything looks completely normal, right up until the scooter comes into view. Witnesses later told investigators it was moving at speed, cutting between pedestrians rather than holding a steady line. Prosecutors stated it was also traveling at more than double the speed limit permitted for electric scooters on that footpath. Then, in a single moment, it was over. Investigators say the scooter hit Fan from behind. Emergency services reached the scene quickly, and he was rushed to hospital. Despite everything medical teams did, he passed away 2 days later. The friend riding with Kemp also sustained injuries, but went on to recover. As detectives worked to reconstruct the incident, further details came to light. Court records indicated that Kemp's blood alcohol level was more than 3 times the legal threshold for operating an electric scooter in Western Australia. Prosecutors also put forward evidence that she had failed to reduce her speed while moving through crowded pedestrian areas in the moments before the collision. When the matter came before the court, Kemp entered a guilty plea to dangerous driving causing death. During sentencing, the court was given a sobering account of the toll the loss had taken on Fan's family. His wife described him as the person who kept their household running emotionally, practically, and financially. Their 2 sons, both of whom are autistic, had depended on him deeply in their day-to-day lives. Among the most heartbreaking details shared in court was that their eldest son kept asking when his father was coming home, unable to fully grasp why he was no longer there. The judge acknowledged that there had been no deliberate intent to cause harm, but made clear that responsibility still fell squarely on the person who had been operating the scooter. She also stressed that electric scooters should never be dismissed as harmless, simply because they are smaller than a car. Kemp was handed a 4-year prison sentence and will be eligible for parole after completing a portion of that term. The case has since sparked wider debate about electric scooter regulations across Western Australia, with some areas pausing rental schemes while authorities took stock of the rules in place. The footage itself runs for only a few seconds, yet it stands as a stark reminder that everything can shift in an instant, not through some dramatic catastrophe, but through a string of small, seemingly inconsequential decisions that only reveal their true weight when a paranormal investigator who goes by the name B has built quite a reputation for herself, venturing into derelict structures and graveyards all across the country. Though she typically brings a full team along for her expeditions, she sometimes ventures out completely alone in the middle of the night. These solo outings are broadcast live, letting her followers experience every unsettling moment as it unfolds. But a recent one-woman live stream inside a deserted temple took a turn that nobody was prepared for.
Yeah. 好小，哎，丢，以后松林，what is that? What is that? What? Who's that? Who's standing there? Hey! Wait! I'm zooming up. I'm not zooming in. Ow, my leg hurts. My leg got shocked. Was that a girl just now? Hey, someone was really standing there! Guys! It's a little girl! When I zoomed in, it was a little girl with a bob cut. I can hear crying, guys. I hear crying. All 3,300 of you, please tap the screen and report this for me. There's a crying sound.
The moment B steps foot inside the temple, she freezes. There's a small, childlike figure lurking in the darkness, its gaze locked directly onto her. The thing is strikingly pale, and when the footage is zoomed in, its facial features look horribly wrong, like nothing that belongs in the natural world. Summoning her courage, B makes her way into the main hall, where she discovers a woman dressed head to toe in black, standing motionless. The pale little figure has now appeared right next to her, and together the two of them simply stand there in silence. Watching, B glances away for just a moment, but when the camera swings back only seconds later, both of them have vanished without a trace. Then, out of nowhere, the childlike entity tears around her at an almost impossible speed. It moves so quickly it's nearly invisible in real time, but once the clip is slowed down, its face becomes clearly visible, grotesquely warped, leaving absolutely no doubt that whatever this creature is, it isn't human. A hotel in Latin America recently sent shockwaves across the internet after its official TikTok account posted a chilling video that exploded in popularity and divided viewers everywhere. According to the staff, when they went to service one of the rooms, they discovered it had been completely torn apart furniture overturned. Everything in total chaos. What made it all the more unsettling was the fact that the room had been locked tight and sitting empty. Nobody had set foot in it for over a week. Initially, the employees assumed someone must have broken in, but as time went on, the same thing kept repeating itself over and over, every single time they checked on the room. It had been wrecked all over again for no explainable reason, and yet nothing had been taken. Stranger still, the windows and door were always found locked, with absolutely no evidence of a break-in. But on this one particular day, a hotel employee may have unknowingly recorded something absolutely terrifying. See for yourself what unfolded.
Veía una persona en la habitación 30 y le dije no, y me dice, ¿está ocupada? Le digo no, se desocupó en la mañana. Y no hay nadie, yo misma fui a ventilar esa habitación. Y ahorita que voy pasando por acá me doy cuenta que si es cierto, se ve como que si alguien se estuviera asomando en la ventana. Vamos a ver qué es lo que pasa, vamos a ver qué hay ahí, pero se supone que no hay nada. Y sigue ahí moviéndose. Aquí más cerquita. Sí, miren, ahí se alcanza a ver una cara, unos ojos. Vamos a ver a esa habitación. Estamos subiendo las escaleras porque desde ahí es donde estábamos viendo que se veía. Aquí ya no se ve nada, a lo mejor por el reflejo de la luz. Y vamos a ver en la habitación. Aquí está la cama, porque esta es una habitación pequeña. Aquí pues no se ve nada. Y aquí está la tele, donde estábamos, donde se supone que se veía, pero no se ve nada. No entiendo por qué se ve. ¡Ah!
Once the image is sharpened and enhanced, something becomes disturbingly visible inside the room, a large, ghostly pale face with deeply unsettling features lurking in the shadows. The instant the woman steps through the door, however, it disappears completely, as though it was never there. Just moments later, a thunderous bang erupts from somewhere inside. The woman lets out a scream of pure terror and bolts out of the room in a panic.
Pero no se ve nada. No entiendo por qué se ve. ¡Ah!
Many viewers believe that the horrifying face captured in the footage may be directly tied to the mysterious destruction occurring inside that room. Some even argued that its appearance was far too inhuman to belong to any ordinary person, with a growing number of people convinced that something supernatural has taken up residence there. During an exhausting shift, the staff at this hospital were already dealing with one of the most heartbreaking outcomes their profession can bring. A patient had lost her life earlier that same day. As doctors and nurses moved through the hallways past the room in question, they couldn't shake the feeling that something wasn't quite right. At first, they chalked it up to grief and stress playing tricks on them, but eventually that uneasy sensation became impossible to dismiss because it started manifesting in ways they could actually see.
I don't see none. And it's just all it does is that. Huh? She gonna slam it on you.
We looking at a ghost, Miss Cece?
That's all it does. All by itself.
Oh, I just got dizzy, and I don't know why. Hate that feeling.
According to whoever submitted this footage, the operating room door can only be activated by pressing a button, and every member of staff was certain that nobody was in there at the time. So what exactly triggered it? Had the woman's spirit made itself known so soon after her passing? Was she attempting to leave the room she had died in? Or could there be a more rational explanation, some kind of electrical fault causing the door to cycle on its own? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Sometimes all it takes is one small act to disturb something that has spent a very long time undisturbed. While wandering through an old forgotten cemetery, a man stumbles upon a grave that time has nearly erased, its surface crumbling and thick with moss. Curious, he pulls out his camera and begins documenting the find, completely unaware of what he is about to set in motion.
¿Hay alguien allá adentro? ¿Hay alguien, alguna energía aquí conmigo? No mames.
As he strains to shift the heavy stone aside, he figures there will be nothing waiting beneath it, but what he finds stops him cold in aged glass pane, bogged and darkened with years, and on the other side of it, something is moving. The form is indistinct, shadowy, vaguely resembling a human silhouette. He leans in for a closer look, and that is when it happens a sudden forceful knock strikes the glass from below. He goes still. Then comes another knock, then one more. Each impact is deliberate, measured, and unmistakably originating from within. Overcome with fear, he scrambles back. his mind struggling to process what just unfolded before him. Was there some creature sealed inside by accident, or had he just made contact with something that was never meant to be found? This chilling and bizarre clip originated in Japan and spread across the internet at an absolutely staggering rate. It was captured by a security camera mounted inside an elevator of a residential apartment building back in 2012. The footage begins with a woman standing alone in the elevator, and then, out of nowhere, something deeply unsettling unfolds. See for yourself what the camera recorded. Incredibly, the footage appears to show the woman's facial features shifting and morphing into those of a man right before your eyes. The entire transformation takes only a matter of seconds. Countless theories and explanations have circulated around this clip since it emerged, but the one that gained the most traction suggests that this woman was no ordinary person, and that what occurred was somehow connected to the supernatural. So what's your take on it? Jason Barber from Salisbury, North Carolina, arrives home after a long day at work and gets the absolute fright of his life. A large snake is coiled along the frame of his front door and strikes out, attempting to sink its fangs into him. Fortunately, it misses completely, and the culprit turns out to be a non-venomous black rat snake. Still, there's a lesson worth taking away from this. If you approach your front door and your cat is just sitting there, locked onto it and crying out for no apparent reason, maybe take a second to investigate before you walk straight through. The Bessemer Scary Encounter. The couple moves an old step stool out of the way and gets the shock of their lives when they discover a massive snake coiled beneath a box right there in front of it. They bolt out of there immediately, their puppy scrambling right along with them. But that little dog has no intention of leaving his favorite toy behind. He turns right back around and snatches it away. Snake be damned. When it comes to that toy, absolutely nothing is standing in his way. On September 6th, 2011, a YouTube user by the name of Santiago Martinez posted a video to his channel featuring a peculiar object drifting across the sky somewhere over an unspecified location. Right from the start, it's evident that Santiago had already locked onto something above him before he even hit record, suggesting he'd spotted it moments earlier. See for yourself what he managed to film.
Ahí hay otro. Que estando, mira. Mira, mira. Mira otro.
Across the duration of the footage, two luminous objects can be observed gliding steadily through the sky. They initially appear as faint, distant lights, but once Santiago zooms in, they begin to look like something far more unusual. Rather than simple glowing dots, each object seems to take on a distinct, almost deliberate shape, though whether that reflects the object's true form or is simply a distortion produced by the camera's heavy magnification is difficult to determine. At a certain point, a second object bearing a strikingly similar appearance drifts into frame, making the whole encounter even harder to dismiss. Frustratingly, the video offers very little additional context, leaving us with nothing but the footage itself to go on. Some who've watched it believe these could be genuine unidentified aerial phenomena, while others argue the strange appearance is nothing more than a product of optical limitations and camera zoom artifacts. Given how little information is available, drawing any firm conclusions simply isn't possible. Even now, over 14 years later, the clip still has people questioning what exactly Santiago was pointing his camera at that day. So where do you land on this one? Could these objects be truly unexplained? Or is there a more grounded interpretation hiding in plain sight? Drop your thoughts below. The following clip was captured by a security camera positioned at the front entrance of a residential property. It starts with a young boy making his way toward the front door. Just as he reaches out to grab the handle and begins pulling it open, something completely unexpected unfolds that has left people stunned. See for yourself. In the moments just before the door swings open, the footage seems to reveal a dark, partially transparent shape moving in the direction of the boy. He's suddenly thrown to the ground with a startling amount of force. For some people watching, it appears as though the shape passes right through the closed door, while others think there's a more down-to-earth explanation at play, like a glitch in the camera or some kind of optical distortion. The following video was recorded late at night by a woman alone in her home with her child to keep her company. This woman had been hearing something she couldn't explain, the sound of kitchen chairs scraping across the floor in the next room, even though she was certain no one else was there. Her partner was at work. It was just her and the baby. So she did what so many people do now. She pulled out her phone, held her child, and decided to check for herself. You can hear her whispering as she moves toward the door, trying to keep her child quiet, half talking herself into going further. Watch.
So it's just us here, and Henry's at work, and I've been hearing my kitchen chairs out there. Shh. And I'm freaking the fuck out right now. Ready? Hello?
The moment she opens that door, a single loud bang hits from inside the dark room. Then, when she calls out, "Hello," a wooden dining chair launches violently across the floor straight toward her with no one visible behind it. She screams, and the footage goes completely chaotic. Some believe the chair was thrown as a warning, a deliberate, aggressive response to being approached. Others think whatever was in that room had been waiting. The child's cries in the background make this one genuinely hard to sit with. What would you have done if you were the one holding that door open? In this next clip, a man who appears to be a cinema employee is closing up the building late at night. Most of the lights already off, the lobby quiet, the hallways empty, the way only a theater gets after the last showing clears out. He's walking through the corridor past the blue and white walls and a Spider-Man cutout hanging from the ceiling when something stops him in his tracks. He says he was about to head out, that he'd already shut off the main lights, but then he hears it. Knocking. Coming from inside the locked family restroom at the end of the hall. He knocks back, asks out loud who's there, and when nothing answers, he tells whatever's on the other side that it doesn't belong here. Watch.
Ya me iba a subir por mis cosas, ya salí. De hecho ya apagué estas luces, nada más dejé los de las salas y me están tocando la puerta. Este es el baño que está aquí abajo del cine, el familiar. Y ¿quién eres? Tú no perteneces aquí. Creo que... ¡Puta madre! Voy a agarrar esta cosa y voy a poner el celular fijo para que no vayan a pensar que hay cortes de cámara o algo, porque quiero hacer algo. Quiero hacer algo. Quiero. Ahí está. Acá lo voy a dejar. Perfecto. Para que vean que no hay corte. No hay nadie. Quiero que vean que no hay nadie. Voy a prender el flash. Acá estoy yo. Yo mejor me voy. Voy a dejar esto en su lugar. Y vámonos mejor. No sé qué ando haciendo estas cosas. Porque si el momento que me están espantando, mejor debería ya irme.
The knocking isn't subtle. It comes in waves. 3 sharp raps, then frantic banging, then silence, then more. And what makes it harder to dismiss is that it responds. When he knocks, something knocks back. He sets up his phone on a stanchion to get a static shot of the door, and when the knocking starts again, he points at the door's glossy surface and claims he can see a small hand. The camera doesn't confirm it clearly, but his reaction does. He opens the door, steps inside, turns on the light. The bathroom is completely empty. He closes the door, says, "No, I'd better leave," and you can hear his footsteps quicken into a run as he heads for the exit. Skeptics will say the sound carries strangely in empty buildings, pipes, acoustics, pressure changes. But responsive knocking from an empty locked room is a different conversation entirely. So what was on the other side of that door? This next video comes from the same account, and both clips appear to be recorded inside the same home. A cluttered, dimly lit space that, according to the footage, has been showing signs of something the person filming isn't quite able to explain away. In the first clip, it's nighttime, and the man behind the camera is outside the building, moving toward a glass door while clearly frightened. You can hear it in his voice. He's praying out loud in Spanish, repeating the same phrase over and over. La sangre de Cristo tiene poder. The blood of Christ has power. It's the kind of prayer you say when you're not sure what you're walking into. Watch.
El nombre sea de Dios. La sangre de Cristo tiene poder. La sangre de Cristo tiene poder.
As he approaches the glass, a figure is visible in the reflection, a silhouette of a head and upper torso apparently standing outside the room, looking out. He pushes through the door, exhales sharply, and pans the space. No one's there. The fan, the shelves, the couch, an empty room. Whatever was visible in that glass was gone the moment he stepped inside. Some viewers immediately pointed to the concept of a shadow person, a term used in paranormal communities to describe dark humanoid forms that appear briefly and vanish before they can be properly observed. Others think the reflection itself could be a trick of light and angle, though that explanation is harder to hold on to when you hear the fear in his voice before he even opens the door. The second clip appears to have been recorded the same night, this time from inside the home, in complete silence. There's no audio at all. What there is, though, is a timestamp on screen reading 3:33 a.m., a time that carries its own weight in paranormal tradition, sometimes called the witching hour, a mirror of 3 a.m. but linked in modern folklore to demonic rather than angelic presence. Watch.
3:30 de la mañana. Están los golpes a todo lo que da. Ya despertaron a mi hija los gritos, los toquidos. Se logra ver algo. Me percaté de algo ahí en la ventana. Hay algo en la ventana, creo. O me lo estoy imaginando. Veo algo ahí en la ventana. Ahí hay algo, amigos. La sangre de Cristo tiene poder. La sangre de Cristo tiene poder. Lárgate de aquí. Lárgate. Ahí hay algo, amigos. Miren. Voy a ver si se ve. No mamen. Ahí había algo, lo juro por Dios. Está todo bien cerrado. Vieron que ahí había algo. Ahí se veía algo, lo juro por Dios. Ahí había algo. Con la luz se desvanece. Ahí había algo. La sangre de Cristo tiene poder. Tú no perteneces aquí, va en la hora, amigos. Siempre a la misma hora. La sangre de Cristo tiene poder. La sangre de Cristo tiene poder. El que habita el abrigo del Altísimo morará bajo la sombra del Omnipotente. Es hora de estar encerrado. Sangre de Cristo tiene poder.
Within paranormal folklore, 3:33 a.m. has developed a reputation as a significant hour, often described in modern supernatural traditions as a time when alleged paranormal activity is at its strongest. While these beliefs have no scientific basis and vary widely between traditions, the hour has become deeply associated with ghost stories, alleged hauntings, and reports of unexplained knocking. Believers sometimes interpret repeated knocking as an unseen presence attempting to draw attention or announce itself, while skeptics point to expanding building materials, plumbing, animals, or ordinary environmental noises that can sound remarkably deliberate in the quiet of the night. Whether the reflection and the knocking were connected, or whether the family experienced two unrelated coincidences on different nights, the timing has left many viewers wondering if something really was trying to get their attention before dawn. This next clip was captured on a Ring home security camera at 4:41 in the morning, inside what appears to be an ordinary living room. Two couches, a staircase in the background, a large window along the right wall. Nobody was awake. Nobody was moving. The house was completely still. Watch. She insisted there was no airflow in the house that morning and said she'd reviewed the footage repeatedly without finding an ordinary cause. One detail that immediately caught viewers' attention was the timing. Earlier that same night, her ex-partner had unexpectedly come by the house to collect some belongings without warning. Some people wondered whether the emotional tension surrounding that visit had anything to do with the strange footage. Others took a very different view, suggesting the white mist resembled what they believed to be a protective presence rather than something threatening. Then the conversation took another turn. Several viewers asked whether she had recently lost someone close to her. Her answer made many people rethink the clip. She revealed that a close friend had passed away 6 years earlier, and the anniversary happened to fall during the very same week this footage was recorded. She also admitted that she'd been thinking about that friend constantly in the days leading up to the incident. Within many spiritual traditions, unexplained white mist or glowing forms are sometimes interpreted as benevolent apparitions or protective spirits, particularly when they appear during periods of grief or emotional vulnerability. Some people believe that anniversaries of a loved one's death can coincide with experiences they interpret as signs or visits, whether the camera captured nothing more than an optical artifact, or whether the timing, her memories of her friend, and the unexplained white figure were somehow connected, is a conclusion every viewer has to reach for themselves. In this next clip, a man decides to explore what looks like a dark, cluttered attic or storage room late at night, armed with nothing but his phone and its attached light. The space is cramped and messy, exposed wooden beams overhead, debris scattered across the floor, old Christmas decorations and picture frames leaning against the walls. He's barely been in there a few seconds before he does what a lot of people do in a situation like this. He asks,
"Any ghosts or spirits in here, make your presence known, please." Bro, that thing just fell off the table. That just fell off the table right now. Put you on my chest so I can hold the flight. That literally just fell off the table, like flew off the table. It was right here. It was right up there. And it flew off the table.
The moment he finishes saying, "Make your presence known, please," something flies off a nearby table and crashes onto the floor with a loud bang. He pans down immediately, clearly rattled, picks up the object, 2 rolls of paper taped together, and then points the camera back at the table to show you the empty spot where it had just been sitting. The timing is what's hard to get around. Not after a few seconds, not after he walks near the table, right as the words leave his mouth. Some viewers think this is a textbook poltergeist response, where objects don't just fall, but seem to react to human intent or attention. Skeptics argue vibration from his footsteps could have nudged it loose, but if you watch how quickly it moves, nudged might be the wrong word entirely. So what do you think caused it? In this next clip, a woman is filming inside a dark room at night when she notices her cat, Sasuke, behaving strangely, sitting on the couch, head tilted all the way back, staring up at something near the ceiling. She calls his name, asks him what he's looking at. Watch.
Sasuke.
Animals are widely believed to sense things humans simply can't, and whatever Sasuke locked onto in that upper corner of the room, she couldn't see it at the time. But after reviewing the clip, she noticed a shadow-like figure moving through the same area Sasuke had been watching. Unlike traditional ghost sightings, shadow figures are often described as lacking facial features or clear detail, appearing instead as silhouettes that seem darker than the surrounding darkness itself. But for many viewers, the unsettling part isn't just the shadow. It's the fact that, according to her, the cat appeared to be watching that exact spot long before the figure became noticeable on camera. Whether the footage captured an optical illusion, or something moving through the room that only became visible on playback, is what keeps people replaying the clip. This next video was recorded inside a home kitchen by what appears to be a high-angle security camera positioned in the corner of the room, capturing everything from a wide, slightly distorted view that misses nothing. It's a completely ordinary afternoon. A man is at the sink, washing dishes, singing along to Spanish language music playing in the background, the whole scene casual and relaxed in the way that only makes what follows feel stranger. Nothing about this kitchen suggests anything is wrong. Then, this happens. Watch.
Pero hace, no sé por qué no estás conmigo, amor, amor, amor prohibido. Oh, oh. Money, 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 money. No estás conmigo, amor, amor, amor prohibido. What the f? Holy shit. What the fuck was that? Oh, I'm out.
He looks around the room like he's trying to find a rational explanation. That's when it gets worse. The second he leaves the frame, something is violently thrown towards the direction he was standing before. What makes this harder to dismiss is the sequence of it. A small warning first, as if something was testing the space, and then the main event the moment the man turned his back and walked away. Some viewers think the two incidents are connected, like whatever was in that kitchen waited just long enough for him to leave before making its real presence known. Others point to the high chair specifically, noting that in a lot of reported activity, objects associated with children seem to be the focal point, but I'll leave you to be the judge on this one. The following video was captured inside a hospital by Dave, a man who claims he's been gifted with sight since he was young. According to him, he doesn't just sense things, he sees and hears them, and he says spirits tend to follow him, especially in places where emotions are intense, like hospitals, cemeteries, abandoned buildings, places where life and death have crossed paths. While Dav was receiving treatment, he suddenly felt like he wasn't alone in the room. Watch.
There's like something in this room. That is like moving like the chairs. Move this shit around here. Oh, my bad. That should hurt. But anyways, if there's a spirit in here, just let me know. You know. And sometimes things this is Kaiser. Oh, but I felt like a really heavy presence in this room right when I walked in, but I just thought I see something sitting right there. I'm sorry. My phone. That's not good. There's a lot of things happening here. Again, that door slowly opened and closed right now. If there's anything in here, just give me a sign. I'm here in peace. Okay, you can say anything. Just don't mess with my heart monitor or anything. That started to move. But it could be people out there. I just came up in here. Saw you guys here, TV or something. Move anything you want. Let the people know that you're speak into this thing. Show me your hair, presents. You could, I got a gift, and I'm not afraid. So if you decide to move anything, open that door again, I won't be frightened. Well, what the hell? Oh. Whoa, shh. Excuse me, nurse. Oh, that's some activity. Excuse me. This thing fell. Right here. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it just fell.
Oh, weird.
Yeah, I was just sleeping.
Well, that scared you, huh?
Yeah, it scared the shit.
I was worried. I thought you fell.
Oh, no.
It wasn't you. Alright.
Okay, people, that was a scary situation. I don't know know I didn't jerk, but yeah, it's ghost activity. Oh my god. Oh crap. Well, I got the gift, but I'm not gonna abuse it. I just asked for, you know, little signs here and there. They showed them to me. Nothing to be alarmed about, people. Didn't feel it was evil at all. But whoa! I know you guys heard that over there. Woo! Anyways, God bless you guys. I'm not gonna entertain them anymore because I don't need my heart to go racing. God bless you guys. But anyways, I was gonna cut this video short, but right when I was gonna cut it short, something else happened. But I'm waiting for it to happen again. So this right here, mind you, this is the only sliding door that's open. But this right here pulled all the way back this way. So what happened last time was I was asking it for a sign, and it pushed over this metal thing right here. I had to tell the nurse I was sleeping because I didn't want her to think I did the shit, or I just told her I don't know. I didn't know what to, make up, but this shit is, it's crazy, And all I asked is for a sign, and they give them to me. But the thing is, I'm like used to it when there are signs, But in hospitals, there's a lot of activity, and I already know like I'm gonna find something, that would like give me a sign or whatever. Oh, just like that. That was up there under my sweater or some shit. Okay. I know you're not welcome here, so you can go back to wherever you come from. Cause I'm gonna take a nap. And this arm right here you can't do nothing with it. It hurts. So I gotta lay on my side right here. Hey people, God bless you, blessings, and man, pray for me.
If you listen closely, after he says, "I'm here for peace," a faint whisper can be heard saying, "Help," and then what sounds like "knife." That detail is what unsettled viewers the most. Some speculate it could be the spirit of someone who passed away in that very room, possibly someone connected to surgery or a traumatic procedure. Hospitals are places of healing, but they're also places of loss, fear, and unfinished stories. In paranormal theory, strong emotional events can leave behind residual energy, like a recording that replays under the right conditions. Others believe this could be an intelligent haunting, meaning whatever is there is aware and responding directly to Dave, especially since the whisper appears right after he speaks. During his stay, Dave also mentioned feeling a heavy presence near the chair in the room. He said the energy felt concentrated there, like someone was sitting and watching him, but when he looked, no one was there. Of course, skeptics argue hospitals are full of ambient noise, machines humming, distant voices, equipment moving, and audio pareidolia can make random sounds seem like words. According to them, when you expect to hear something, your brain can fill in the blanks. So was it simply hospital acoustics playing tricks on the ears? Or did someone or something in that room hear him when he said he came in peace and answered back? You decide. In this next video, Andrea is walking her dog late at night when something in the distance makes her stop. At first, she thinks it's just her eyes adjusting to the dark, but then she notices shapes that don't look quite right. So she pulls out her phone and starts recording. Have a look. In the distance, 3 shadow figures appear to be standing completely still. Some believe they could simply be people standing under poor lighting, their features swallowed by the darkness. At night, depth perception becomes unreliable. Streetlights can distort proportions, and shadows can merge together, making ordinary figures look unnaturally tall or solid black. But others argue something feels off. In paranormal discussions, shadow figures are often described exactly this way: human-shaped, lacking detail, and usually seen in peripheral vision. They're said to be watchers, observers, and in some reports, they appear in groups of 2 or 3. The fact that there are 3 of them standing together raises even more concern for believers. Some theories suggest that multiple figures appearing at once could indicate something more intelligent or coordinated, not residual energy, but active presence. As for danger, most accounts claim shadow entities don't always attack, but they can induce fear, paralysis, or a feeling of being targeted, and fear is something certain entities feed off. Whatever they were, one thing is clear: they weren't moving, and they were aware enough to stand there while being filmed. Until clear footage surfaces, what Andre saw that night remains a mystery. Now in this next video, a team of paranormal investigators visit an abandoned house that locals have refused to go near for years. The place has been empty for decades, and as many paranormal researchers will tell you, abandoned buildings have a way of holding onto energy. When houses are left to decay, especially ones tied to unknown histories, tragedies, or sudden departures, believers say the energy inside can become stagnant, trapped. So the team sets up their equipment: EMF readers, cameras, and most importantly, trip wires. For those unfamiliar, trip wires are extremely sensitive devices designed to trigger if something physically passes through them. Not wind, not distant vibration, but something crossing the line. As they begin asking questions, trying to provoke a response, this happens.
And see what's popping. Nope, that's not a new tripwire. That's the same tripwire that we use at the breakfast date, that I've used in other places. Okay. That door just opened up by itself. I didn't even get that far. Dude.
You went up here or either.
This door just opened up by itself. Here we go. Away. Crazy, right? That was me. I bumped into the table here. If you heard something rattle, that was me. But that door opening up.
Quite clean.
The trip wires suddenly went nuts, and then, almost on cue, the door slowly opens by itself. Skeptics argue structural shifts could trigger the wires, but paranormal experts would say something else entirely. They believe abandoned spaces can act like containers, especially if something tragic happened there. If investigators actively try to communicate, they're essentially knocking on whatever door exists between worlds. And sometimes, something knocks back. Abandoned buildings already carry risk, unstable floors, toxic air, human squatters. But if something unseen is also moving through the halls, that's a different kind of danger. So was this structural coincidence, or did something in that house finally respond to being called out? You decide. The following video was recorded by a woman named Simone during what was supposed to be a normal evening walk. Watch closely. If you pause at the right moment, you'll notice a dark figure leaning against a tree before it suddenly darts away. At first, Simone brushed it off. Maybe it was a trick of the light, maybe someone was hiding. But what unsettled her wasn't just what she saw, it was what she felt after leaving the area. Even when she had completely walked past the tree line, she couldn't shake the sensation that someone was still behind her, matching her pace. On her way home, she passed a strange building she'd never paid attention to before. This time, she went in. As she steps inside the dark room, look toward the right side of the door near the end of the clip. Something shifts behind it. Simone later said that's when the idea first crossed her mind. What if whatever she saw near the tree wasn't random? What if it was watching her? A few evenings later, she passed the same building again, and this time she heard a voice that sounded exactly like her sister calling her name.
I don't know why the lights are on, but I'm going inside of this house. I just heard my sister's voice, and I'm sick of this. And I need to figure out what's going on so I can put a stop to it. Why is this chair in the middle of the floor?
Mimicking entities are considered particularly dangerous. They don't just appear, they imitate familiar voices to lure people closer. When Simone stepped inside, she noticed a chair positioned strangely in the middle of the room. Before she could even finish talking, she saw the figure again. After that encounter, she convinced herself the entity was attached to the abandoned house, not her. But that assumption didn't last long, because soon after, her own home stopped being quiet. Banging at night, footsteps when she's alone, whispers she can't trace, and an overwhelming sense of fear that comes without warning. One day, a friend visited after hearing everything, and this happened.
Hey guys, it's Simone again.
You kidding me?
Yeah. So I'm here with my friend Lexi, and I thought that this was over, but it's still happening. Something from this entity is still trying to get to me, so...
I thought you were kidding.
No.
Like, this is horrible.
I'm not kidding.
I don't know how you've been living like this. This is literally, like, I've checked this door 5 times. There's no way anyone is in the backyard.
Yeah. So, still going on, and I just wanted to come back and report to you guys that it's still impacting my life every day.
I'm so sorry. This is insane.
Here's the unsettling theory. If the activity followed Simone home, then this may not be about a haunted location anymore. It could be attachment, a phenomenon where an entity fixates on a person rather than a place. And attachments, according to paranormal researchers, rarely fade on their own. It's hard to walk away from something like this without answers, but Simone isn't ready to stop investigating until she understands what's happening. Now, this strange video was posted on December 27th, 2025 by a veterinary hospital in Madison, Alabama. But what makes it even more unsettling is that the footage itself had reportedly been kept private for nearly 4 years. According to the clinic's owner, Renee, something happened that night that caused all employees on shift to stop what they were doing. Have a look.
That's weird. Where is that coming from? It don't sound like it's coming from. Okay, so you still want to do banana bags, 15 mils an hour, head of starch, 4 mils an hour. It's coming from over this way. Alright. 15 on the ideal. Wait, is it Scarlet? Clicked it off. Wait. I clicked it off before getting meds. Is somebody trying to dog up there? What's coming from up there? They may have done that when they switched the bag. Is it the new bag? Creepy? No. Alright, who's making that noise? What's in the lobby? It's coming from the lobby. No, it's not. Where is that? It's not in here. What is that? What, phantom dolls? That's weird. Is it Charles? You heard that, right? We all heard that. I didn't hear anything. I didn't hear anything. What did you hear? A dog keeps yapping. Is it Dakota? No. Look, it's coming from over here. Why don't you look in the front porch and make sure I didn't dump one or throw one in the pen outside or something? I didn't hear anything. You're not hearing that. Three of us heard it. I didn't hear it, no. You heard it, right? I heard it. I didn't hear it. It sounds like it's coming from this side. You can't hear it at ISO though, right? No. Look at that fence out there and make sure somebody throw one in the fence. I heard nothing. I was like, what are y'all talking about? Yeah, that's a brand new bag. That's fucking bizarre. Yeah. That's I haven't heard it. I still haven't heard it. All three of us heard it. And it was coming from that. It sounded like it was in that room or something. Like it sounded like it was like right where you're bored. We're gonna play that back. I didn't even hear anything. Can you play it like specifically in those rooms or anything?
After reviewing the footage, Renee says there was no logical explanation for what they witnessed. And this wasn't an isolated event. Over time, strange activity became almost routine inside the clinic. Dog kennels securely latched would open on their own in the middle of the night. Office supplies and lightweight equipment were found scattered across rooms that had been locked. Staff members reported hearing scratching sounds coming from empty runs long after the last patient had gone home. Sometimes motion sensors would trigger in rooms where no animal was being treated. For a veterinary hospital, that detail hits differently. Because this isn't just any building, it's a place filled with heightened emotion, fear, grief, relief, heartbreak. It's where some families say goodbye to beloved pets, and many pet owners will tell you that after their animal passes, they still hear the faint scratch at the door, still feel the weight at the foot of the bed, still think they see a quick shadow dart past in the hallway. Some believe animals, especially loyal ones, linger, and that's the theory whispered among staff, that perhaps some of the dogs who passed away in that clinic never fully left, that the scratching isn't imagination, and that the kennel's opening isn't mechanical failure. So what do you think? Is it residual energy, emotional imprints replaying themselves, or something else using the setting to its advantage? Renee says she doesn't know what's in her clinic, but she's no longer convinced it's empty after closing time. The following clip was captured by Amanda, who's had some of the strangest encounters inside her home. About 2 weeks after she moved in, she woke up one morning to shocking news. A body had been found in her backyard. And according to Amanda, ever since that day, the house hasn't felt the same. Have a look.
I am freaked the f out. I just got home and tell me why my chairs are like this. Like what the f? I literally still have my coat on. I come walking through the fucking... Oh my god. I'm like shaking right now. I just went and dropped my daughter off to her dad's house. And all the chairs were around the table. What the f? Oh my god. I need to call my mom.
Chairs don't end up like this by accident, and this is not something caused by drafts, pets, or structural shifts. In paranormal discussions, this kind of activity is often linked to an intelligence trying to be noticed, especially when the setup is visually striking rather than destructive. Since then, Amanda says doors open on their own, lights flicker and malfunction, and the house feels different, heavier, quieter, like something is always just out of view. Some believe the discovery of the body may have triggered residual energy tied to trauma, while others think the attention and disturbance surrounding the property may have awakened something that was already there. Skeptics argue stress and fear can heighten awareness, making ordinary issues feel sinister, but others point out that recurring physical changes, especially ones involving multiple objects, are harder to dismiss. Now, Amanda just wants to know one thing. Is there a chance this all has a normal explanation? Or is this a situation that requires real intervention before it escalates? What do you think? This next video was captured by a family's security camera, installed after everyone in the house woke up to a loud bang in the middle of the night, followed by several other unsettling incidents they couldn't explain. Hoping to catch whatever was happening, they set up cameras. Take a look. Aside from the obvious breathing sound, viewers immediately notice something else. On the right side of the screen, along the staircase, something moved. When the family reviewed this footage, it made other moments fall into place. Just weeks earlier, the sister of one of the couples living here called her and asked what she was doing standing on her front porch. Now here's the problem. She wasn't home. She was at work, nowhere near the house. But the anxiety in the house escalated when the family noticed their dogs reacting. Watch this.
What is wrong, Cole? Stop arguing. Connor! Knock it off! Hey! Barking at the door again. No one's there. Go on a queen. No one's there, honey. Nobody's here. It's all good. It's all good in the hood.
The dog repeatedly barks at the door, staring at it with focus. Not playful, not distracted, but locked in, as if responding to something it can sense but humans can't. Animals are often said to react to subtle changes in energy, sound frequencies, or presence long before people do. And when pets fixate on empty spaces, doors, or corners, many believe it's because something unseen has crossed into our world. And if you look at the activities they've experienced, the breathing caught on camera, the movement on the stairs, the mimic sighting on the porch, and the dogs reacting, this no longer feels like a single incident. It feels like a pattern. So could this be heightened anxiety and coincidence? Or is something inside the house slowly making itself known, watching, copying, and waiting? You decide. Now, in this next video, Nate, who's been trying to get to the bottom of whatever is happening inside his house, captures something new on camera. By now, his experiences follow a disturbing pattern. He wakes up to objects scattered across his kitchen floor, his dog refuses to enter certain corners of the house, and the sound of footsteps moving along the stairs when no one else is home. One night, while waiting for a UFC fight to start, he begins hearing something unusual. Listen closely.
Guys, I want you guys to check this out. So, I'm just chilling here, waiting for the UFC fights to start. Dog's there. And I'm just sitting here. I was re-racking my weights. And I was hearing the scratching. And it sounded like it was coming from like right in front of me. But I don't see anything. Like, up. I heard it. But I was like looking. And it sounded like it was coming from like... You hear that? What the f*** is that? It sounded like it was coming from like right in front here, but... I don't see anything else. What the f... Like, I have no clue.
Hearing scratching or dragging sounds can mean something is trying to mark territory or test physical boundaries, especially when it happens repeatedly in the same areas of a home. Another detail viewers couldn't ignore is Nate's environment. His house is almost always dark. Many believe prolonged darkness, cluttered spaces, and low lighting can make activity feel stronger, either by heightening fear or, according to paranormal belief, by creating conditions where negative entities feel more comfortable. Another night, a different sound woke him. This time, it wasn't scratching, it was stomping, and when Nate got up to check the house, this happened.
Hey guys. So I was upstairs and was woken up to the sound of stomping down here. I mean, loud stomping. It is currently 2:52 a.m. So it's a little before 3 a.m. And the weird thing about it is when I woke up to the sound of the stomping, the dog was sleeping, not even alerted. It's almost like she couldn't hear it. So, as soon as I came down, I walked into like a cold spot. It felt like a certain area was cold. But it was loud. It was such a loud stomp. Like I said, it's 2:53 a.m.
scratching, stomping, footsteps, all familiar at this point. But what truly unsettled him was something else entirely. His dog didn't react. Normally, animals respond instantly to loud physical sounds, yet during the stomping, his dog remained unusually calm, as if it either couldn't hear it or didn't perceive it the same way Nate did. Some believe the dog may have already learned to avoid reacting, but this concern quickly became secondary, because the next morning, Nate woke up to something far more disturbing: scratches on his body. If this had happened once, it's easy to say he accidentally scratched himself while he was asleep, a reaction to fabric, even stress-related skin irritation. But it didn't stop. It kept happening. And on the morning after the stomping incident, he recorded this. Watch.
So the people that were asking for a better view of the scratch that I woke up with on my leg, here it is. Like I said, it's not super deep, but it goes down pretty far. And I also noticed on the opposite side, I have two here on the same leg, but on the opposite side, that I woke up this morning with. Now, these ones didn't burn as bad as this one. This one was 2 mornings ago when I woke up. This burned, and I looked down and saw that. And then this morning when I got up at like 2:30 a.m., I woke up to stomping downstairs. And it wasn't until after I worked out and everything that I noticed these. So, yeah, that's the update.
As Nate shows the marks on his body, many viewers begin connecting everything. The scratching sounds at night, the dragging noises, the stomping footsteps, and now, physical marks appearing while he sleeps. This points to something more than a simple house haunting. Physical interaction, especially repeated scratching, is often cited in cases involving attachments rather than locations. Some believe this points towards something escalating, moving from environmental disturbances to personal interaction. Others think whatever is in the house may be trying to assert control, feeding on fear, isolation, or even exhaustion. And the most disturbing part, the activity isn't random anymore. It's consistent, and it's getting closer. So whether it's an attachment, an oppressive presence, or something feeding off the darkness and silence, one thing is clear. Whatever this is, it's no longer staying in the shadows. And until Nate gets answers, this case remains deeply unsettling and completely unsolved. In the following video, a woman's first son is home alone, quietly watching TV when he suddenly hears someone call his name. At first, he doesn't think much of it, until he responds and hears the voice again. This time, it sounds exactly like his little brother. Watch.
Hola. ¿Quién es?
Soy yo. ¿Tú? ¿Quieres jugar a la pelota?
Pero la Chu no se había ido al médico con mi madre. ¡Hijo de p***!
Hola, Michael. No, si la Chu está acá en el médico, estamos en el médico acá, vamos a demorar un poco para llegar. No estamos en casa.
The confusion sets in immediately. His brother isn't home, he's at the hospital with their mother, waiting to see a doctor. So there's no possible reason for his voice to be inside the house. But many viewers believe he didn't handle the situation well when he responded. In paranormal folklore, responding to a voice you can't verify is often considered a mistake, especially when the voice belongs to someone who physically isn't there. Many believe mimics rely on acknowledgement, and once you answer, you're confirming awareness, opening the door for further interaction. That's why one of the most repeated rules in cases like this is simple: don't respond, don't investigate, and don't follow the voice. As for what this could be, most people landed on 2 possibilities: a mimic or a doppelganger. And while the terms are often used interchangeably online, there's an important difference. A mimic imitates voices to provoke a response. It doesn't need to be seen. It feeds on confusion and fear, using familiar voices to draw someone in, often calling names or repeating phrases. Also, it's usually heard before it's ever seen, if it's seen at all. A doppelganger, on the other hand, is typically visual. It's believed to appear as a full physical copy of a person, seen walking, standing, or watching, sometimes even interacting briefly before disappearing. Doppelgangers are less about sound and more about presence. In this case, there's no figure, no visual confirmation, just a voice, perfectly copied, calling out from inside the house. That leans heavily toward a mimic, and once a voice knows you'll answer, it rarely stops calling. So, which was it? You decide. Now, in this next clip, popular Midwest ghost hunter Ian continues his investigation inside the infamous Boyd house. At this point, he's still inside the room with the haunted painting, the same room where the power mysteriously died the moment the artwork was brought in. Earlier, Ian heard a heavy dragging sound echo through the room. Most people would have left immediately, but Ian didn't. Instead of backing out, he stayed put and began slowly scanning the room, hoping to capture something. Watch closely.
See if anyone's out in the hallway here. Oh my god. Calm down. Calm down. That sounded like a growl. And worst of all, it came from that closet that I was just in. Okay. Oh gosh. Gosh. Oh, whoa, what the hell is that? Dude, what the Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. Oh my god. Okay, I'm ready to get the hell out of here. There's something in there. There's something in there.
Aside from the low, unsettling growl that can be heard, something far more disturbing appears on his thermal camera. When you look closer, the shape resembles a distorted human face, and this room has a long history of activity. Ever since that painting arrived, the disturbances seem to center there. No electricity, sudden noises, and now, a possible manifestation. Many believe cursed objects can act as anchors, giving something a place to attach itself, feed from, and eventually show itself. If that's true, then this raises an unsettling question. Was this the first time the entity tied to the painting allowed itself to be seen? Or has it always been there, just waiting for someone to stay long enough to notice it? For more haunting videos, including Ian, subscribe to the channel now. In the following clip, a group of Spanish-speaking witnesses document a restless night that keeps escalating in ways that are difficult to dismiss. The first comes from a man who got up to use the bathroom just before midnight and noticed something strange at the far end of his dimly lit hallway. A long corridor with a worn checkerboard floor, a refrigerator to one side, and a darkened living area beyond. He says he was completely alone downstairs, and that thought clearly stayed with him as he stood in the doorway, phone in hand, listening. Watch.
Ya había cortado el video, pero escuchen. ¿Hola? Están escuchando, ¿no? ¿Escucharon? Ya me levanté de pues, mis necesidades. Vamos a ver. Me llevo este filtro, se ve chido. Che fantasmita, se ve medio macabrón, Vamos a ver aquí en el baño, en el cónsul. No, creo que no se ve nada, ¿verdad? A ver, espérame, lo cambio. No se ve nada. No se ve nada, raza. Pues me voy para acá. Si ustedes captaron algo, racita, pues por ahí. Déjenlo en los comentarios, va. Ahí nos vemos. A ver ahí, a ver, aguanten. Si vieron algo, déjenlo en los comentarios, raza.
What you hear in that footage is what makes it unsettling. A sequence of faint rhythmic tapping, then a light scraping or shuffling from somewhere deep in the hallway, and finally a loud series of metallic clinking and rattling that lasts nearly 20 seconds with no visible source. Some viewers familiar with cases like this point to a concept sometimes called residual haunting, the idea that a space can hold onto patterns of movement or sound and replay them involuntarily, like an echo that hasn't figured out it has nowhere left to go. Skeptics would say old houses make noise, especially at night when everything else goes quiet, but the scraping and the rattling are two very different kinds of sounds, and they happen in sequence, which is harder to attribute to settling walls or a drafty hallway. He asks his viewers in the comments if they caught anything he might have missed. The second clip comes from the same man, also awake deep into the night. Almost 4 a.m., he says, lying in bed when his gaming chair suddenly lit up on its own. Take a look.
¿Qué tal, jinetes? Buenas noches. No puedo dormir, me siento un poco mal. Estamos aquí descansando. Perdón, hija, ya le desperté. Se acaba de prender mi silla. Solita. No hay manera de que eso pase, porque se prende con control. Pues todo está apagado, obviamente. La computadora está apagada. Esto siempre está así, que es como la tarjeta madre y está prendida siempre. Pero la silla se acaba de prender solita. Así nomás de bueno. Neta, de la nada. Se prendió así sola. Como ven, raza. Ven que el otro día dicen ustedes que se movió. Que cuando me levanté yo, se movió la silla. Bueno, pues ahorita se acaba de prender. Son casi las 4 de la mañana. Ahí está. Y repito, no hay manera de que eso haya pasado porque se prende con control. Y de hecho, pues el control está allá, acá, en esa cajita. Ahí está el control. Y miren, ahí se prendió solita. Vean, de hecho les voy a mostrar para que no digan que yo lo tengo acá. No voy a hacer ningún corte. Nada más para levantar. Y de hecho lo voy a apagar aquí. Aquí está el control. Es este. No, es este. Chequen. ¿Ya ven? Así es como se prende. Y el control, ustedes vieron, lo acabo de sacar acá. Este sí yo lo dejé así, el micrófono. Yo lo voy a apagar igual. Pero la silla estaba apagada así. Y de la nada se prendió. ¿Qué opinan ustedes? ¿Falla técnica? ¿O alguien se quiso comunicar? Los leo en comentarios.
He gets up calmly to demonstrate something important. The chair runs entirely on a remote control, and the remote was sitting on his desk across the room the whole time. He cycles through the colors to show it works, then turns it off and sets it back down. Some would argue a power fluctuation or an electrical fault could trigger LED strips under the right conditions, and that's a reasonable explanation. Others think electronics activating on their own in the middle of the night, especially in a quiet house when someone can't sleep, fits a pattern that investigators call intelligent response, where something in the environment reacts to the presence of a conscious person. But before you pick a side, if you look closely, a shadow figure passes through the chair, and to some people, that's a connection to the chair moving. But that's not all they've had to deal with. Another night, the couples are lying in bed, both listening to something terrifying. Listen closely. In Mexican and Latin American folklore, agitated animals near a home at night have long been associated with the presence of La Llorona, the weeping woman of legend, said to wander near darkened places searching for her lost children. Her approach sometimes heralded by restless animals before anything visible appears. Whether that connection feels meaningful or like pattern matching is up to you, but the sequence, dogs going frantic, then something striking the glass from outside, is exactly the kind of buildup that gets under your skin. In the next clip, the man replays footage from a previous night he spent in a cemetery and explicitly names what he believes he encountered there. Watch closely.
Hey, 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 hey. Hey, 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 hey. Aguanten, 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 aguanten. ¿Pasó algo? Hey, hey. Hey, 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 hey. Aguanten, 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 aguanten. ¿Pasó algo? Hey, 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 hey. Hey, 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 hey. Aguanten, 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 aguanten. Déjame saber tu opinión en comentarios. No olvides regalarnos tu like, síguenos y comparte.
Between two brightly lit mausoleums, a tall, slender, dark humanoid figure moves quickly from left to right, appearing from behind one structure and vanishing behind the other in less than a second. The narrator calls it La Llorona outright, describing her in the original cemetery clip's audio as something both seen and heard that night. In the traditional legend, La Llorona is a tragic figure from Mexican folklore, a woman said to have drowned her own children and been condemned to wander eternally in grief, haunting riversides and dark places, her weeping heard before she's ever seen. Whether the figure in that footage is a person who happened to be walking through a cemetery at night, a shadow cast by the mausoleum lighting, or something that belongs to that older story remains a mystery.